Hi friends, my name is Christine Mercer-Vernon. Welcome to my channel. I have a story for you today about my worst experience ever as an artist, where I was attacked by a juror at an opening reception where I won an award. But before I get into the story, I just want to say this is a brand new channel for me, and I'm really excited to connect with you and share everything that I've learned over the past 25, 30 years. And one of the things I'm most excited about is this more conversational, dialogue-driven video where I can share my experiences, share my knowledge, and we can connect in the comments. If you have any questions, if you have anything that you'd like to add to the conversation, please do so, because I really look forward to connecting with you. All right, now let's get into the story. So the body of work that I was showing at this exhibition was not the florals that you see behind me. It was my previous body of work that was what I call skull narratives. So they were heavily narrative paintings that were created using animal skulls and sometimes human skulls. My whole theme, or my whole philosophy behind the paintings, was that bones contain stories, therefore I told stories with bones. And they weren't about death. It was more, death was a motivator for life. So these were really emotional and really personal paintings to me. And before this exhibition, I had shown with this gallery, which is a local nonprofit, heavily engaged in the community gallery that I absolutely love. I still work with them today. They had this little satellite gallery where I had entered and shown these 3 of the paintings from this body of work. Prior to this exhibition, I got a lot of really good feedback. It was the first time I had ever come out with this body of work. And so I was encouraged to enter the adult jury competition they had in the summer that was up during our local art fest. And so I entered. 3 of my paintings were accepted, and I went to the opening reception, which you have to understand, I am an introvert. So anytime there's crowds, it's a lot for me to handle. It's very stressful. I have a lot of social anxiety, but I convinced my 13-year-old daughter to come with me, and we went down. And when we got there, they were just starting an awards presentation. And so we kind of snuck off to the side. Well, lo and behold, I won a certificate of merit for these 3 paintings. So I went up, and the gallery director was there and the juror. And I just got a really weird feeling. Like the juror did not want to be in the picture with us, and it just felt very odd. Like she just did not want to be near me. And I thought, okay, this is strange, but maybe I'm just being weird. That was over, and my daughter and I started kind of making the rounds around the gallery, looking at all the other artwork. And we ended up more towards the entrance of the gallery, but it's like a back corner. And there was nobody else there. And we were looking at the paintings that were on the wall, and I just happened to turn, and I see the juror coming at me. And I just kind of felt my stomach drop and thought, oh no, what is happening? And she came right up in my face. I mean, right up in my face. And I immediately knew something was wrong. So I grabbed my daughter and I asked her to go find some friends of mine that just happened to be there. My daughter walks off, and the juror grabs me on both arms with her hands and just starts shaking me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was happening. I don't like people in my personal space, and I was very uncomfortable. And so she just started yelling at me, and she tells me that I was very talented and my work was amazing, and one day it should probably be in museums. And I want to say that's her words, not mine. And she just keeps going on and on and on. And then she says to me, except it never will, because of those frames that you have your art in. And I just went, okay. I didn't know what to say. I mean, I didn't think they were that bad. And so I'm just trying to figure out what to do. And she's squeezing me as hard as she can on both arms, and she's just shaking me and yelling at me and saying a lot of horrible things about the frames that my art was in, and I'm getting upset. At this point, I'm feeling very panicked. I didn't know what to do. I'm trying to look around, but she was right in my face. So she continues to keep yelling at me, and then she says this: "I was going to give you the Best in Show award, but I couldn't because of those frames." And I just felt my heart sink. And I just want to say, the artist that won the Best of Show award, I am super excited for them. I was happy for them. It was a wonderful painting. So this was the judge's words, not mine. But I just remember thinking, wait a minute, you punished me because of my frames? And I had tears at this point streaming down my face, and I didn't know what to do. And when I say she was yelling at me, she was inches from my face, just saying these horrible things, telling me that I was conceited and I was self-absorbed and that my work was never going to go anywhere because I couldn't get out of my own way because of the frames that I put my art in. I was framing my art for me and not for my collectors, and that was going to completely ruin my career. And I'm just sitting there going, listen, this is the second time I've shown these paintings. I'm not really that far into this body of work. And at that point, I didn't even know what to do. And she started yelling at me about crying and that I shouldn't cry. And it was horrible. And then, thank goodness, the wonderful gallery director saw what was happening, and she came over, and I kid you not, she slid her hand and body between us and pried her off of me and sent the juror away. And I have to tell you, the gallery director was completely mortified, unbelievably apologetic. She over and over and over expressed how absolutely upset she was that this happened. I just want to stress that even though it was a really horrible experience for me, I learned a very valuable lesson about presenting my work, and we're going to talk about that as well because I think it's something you should hear. I did want to say I received an amazing letter from the president of the organization who was extremely apologetic, so I have no ill feelings for the gallery. I mean, I love them. I work with them still to this day. I love showing there. It was just a really unfortunate experience, and not one I ever want to have again. I want to move on now to what I feel is the really important lesson, and I didn't get it at first. And I should be clear about that because I went home and I actually didn't step up to the easel for about a month. It really shook me artistically, and I kind of felt like almost like a little bit lost. Like I didn't know if I should continue that body of work, even though it wasn't an attack on that body of work. Anyway, my point is, fast forward, COVID came. I ended up stepping away from this body of work for a number of reasons. After I got through COVID and I started this floral body of work, I bounced around through a couple of different frames, which I'll show some samples. And while I was selling paintings, I can't say that I was selling every painting, and I still was struggling to kind of find the right frame. So I decided I had a show coming up and I wanted all of them framed the same because it definitely looks really good in a show when all of your paintings are framed exactly the same, and it makes it easier for collectors that want to purchase more than one painting and have them look like they belong together in a collection. I had decided on a frame that I really liked and I thought was the right frame, but right before I decided to make the click and spend a lot of money purchasing all these frames, I decided to poll my followers on Instagram because I thought, what if I am choosing a frame for me? So I did. I put up the poll. I got about 75, a little over 75 people that responded. And out of all 75 people, only 2 of them picked a frame that I liked. One was my brother, and the other was a friend from high school. So, I mean, it kind of told me maybe I picked the wrong frame. And I ended up going with this black simple floater frame which showed the edges of my panels, which I did really like because the one I was going to go with did not show the edges. And so there's a really good lesson there because it turned out that maybe she was right. I can't say she delivered her message well. She could have just said to me, hey, little suggestion. Maybe stop picking frames like that and pick one that would be more acceptable to a wider range of collectors. I probably would have took that to heart and went and got different frames, but she didn't. And oh well, that's such is life, right? I still learned the lesson. I have to say that when I went with this new frame, it really changed the perception and the reception of my work. And I had a really successful show. I sold 70% of the paintings that I had in the show, of which multiple people bought more than one painting. So it made a difference. Just goes to show that definitely use your followers. Maybe not use your friends and family because they got it wrong for me, but use your followers, poll your audience, figure out what people like or what they think actually works best for your work, because frames do change how your paintings are presented. And I'll show you the same painting in 3 different frames and you can see what I mean. So I hope that you learned something from this. Not that you should be scared to go to receptions, but it was one that in the end I ended up learning something from. And now when I go to receptions, I also make sure I have multiple people there that can come save me immediately if needed. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something. Add any questions or insights that you want to add to the conversation in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, really help me out with my new channel and hit the subscribe button and hit the like, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you.